Recently, I heard someone say, if you're in the waiting room, just be glad. At least it means you're not in the operating room. When it comes to life, though, I've found that the waiting room is the operating room. And the procedure most likely is open heart surgery. When we are in our times of waiting, Jesus visits the deepest crevices of our heart to remove whatever is standing in the way of our living confidently knowing He loves us. He wants us to be able to say with Paul, I am fully persuaded that absolutely nothing can ever separate me from the love of God. But as you know, this is a process, and learning this takes time. But here's His promise to us. In Philippians 1:6, the scripture says, God who began a good work in you will bring it to completion until the time of His return. The moment you trusted Jesus, He began a good work in you, and He promises to finish it up until the time you see Him face to face. But what is that good work? To answer that question, let's look a little closer at the process. It's very similar to that of refining silver. The silversmith takes the silver and he places it in the harshest of conditions, in the fire. And as the heat begins to melt this precious metal, the impurities that are in the silver rise to the top. Then the silversmith takes the silver out of the fire and he scrapes away all of the impurities that have risen to the top. And then he places it back into the fire. But this time he adjusts the heat just a little bit hotter so that new and different impurities can be extracted from the silver. And then he will take it out of the fire again, scrape the impurities away that have risen to the top, place it back into the fire, and readjust the temperature. And he continues this process until the silver is completely refined. Now, the silversmith, and I love this, he never leaves the silver in the fire. He carefully watches over the entire process, lest the fire become too hot and harm or destroy the precious metal. The silversmith knows when the silver is completely refined, when he can lean over and see his clear reflection in the silver. The good work God is accomplishing in each of us is that He can lean over and see His clear reflection in us. We were designed to mirror, to reflect the beauty and the loveliness of Jesus Christ to a world that doesn't have His love as a frame of reference. But you see, God knows what needs to be taken out of the way so that we can pursue deeper intimacy with Him and we can trust Him. He is the wonderful counselor. In Him are all the riches of wisdom and knowledge. And just like the silversmith, He promises that He will never leave us in the midst of the fire. He will not forsake us. He will accomplish the work that He started in us. I've been very honest with you about how difficult this time of waiting has been for me. I can't even tell you the number of times that I've cried and begged God for it just to be over. But I've learned that if God has us constrained in a time of waiting, there is absolutely nothing we can do to get out of it. We might as well stop resisting Him and choose to trust Him, surrender to the process. Let's choose to trust Him. Let's choose to trust His word that He really, really is a good Father, and that He really is doing a good work in us, and that He really is finishing what He started in us. Regardless of how painful it is, let's choose to believe.